Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I really do. How's everyone doing today? Good to see everyone. Let's see who's here. We've got Vaxxer showed up right away. Res TV, my co-host. How's it going, Lloyd? Jem is here. Josh is here. Let's see. Hussein is here. Night Razor, hello. What's going on, Jerome? Mr. Roman, hello there. Hi, Brian. It's, open mic, and it's on a Thursday, I know. I used to do these more often, and then I just got too busy. But I had some time today to do an open mic, and, we've had quite a few new subscribers recently. So first off, I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed recently, or everybody who watches and subscribes, whatever. But some people are here and they're like, well, what is an open mic? Well, basically, I like to talk about video games, and I figured you guys always tend to have really great ideas of things to talk about. So open mics are when you guys give me ideas for things to talk about right here in chat, and then we just kind of have a discussion about it. So it's basically just a very, very laid back conversation about gaming or content creation, because I get a lot of people asking me about content creation as well. That's what an open mic is, and hopefully I explained it good enough, if that makes sense. And look at that. We've got our, now, how come our alerts didn't go through? Well, thank you very much, Brian, for becoming a supporter. I appreciate that. And don't forget, you can link your YouTube account and your Discord account. I need to fix that. Why did our alert not come through? Oh, there we go. I was just being impatient. If you link your YouTube account and your Discord account, you now have access to a special channel of the Discord that is only for supporters. I can't really help you with that, but if you click on the join button, there's information there for you about how to do that. Res TV, fix the stream name, open Bill with Mike. Gotcha. Yeah, but thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate it, man. All right, what are my thoughts on the next-gen Unreal Engine demo? So, I watched that like many of you did, and I was incredibly impressed by what I saw. But we also have to keep in mind that we've seen a lot of really, really impressive tech demos of games in the past. Now, the things that jumped out at me was not necessarily how nice it looked, because when we really do see that stuff, my guess is it won't look as good as it did there. It's a very, very controlled kind of thing. Even though they had it running on a PS4 dev kit, or I'm sorry, a PS5 dev kit, it was still very controlled. Like there was only one moving character on the screen. So I don't know. Here's what jumps out at me as being important for that. The fact that all of the lighting was done on the fly. The reason that is important is because that's less work that devs have to do in order to light their scenes. Like right now, devs will put in an artificial light source on an object in order to make it look the way that they want it to look. And while a lot of the things that a lot of the visuals that we see in games won't really change much, what's really going to change is how much work the devs have to do to pull that off. And that's really the big takeaway. Of course, everybody was in chat constantly being like, oh, goodbye Xbox, because they were using a PS4 dev kit to show that off. But what a lot of people don't understand is that Unreal Engine 4 which is the one that's out now, runs on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, Android, iOS, and of course, Google Stadia. Like, it's supported by all of those platforms, or it supports all of those platforms, and I would assume that Unreal Engine 5 is going to support all of those platforms too. So therefore, we're going to see the benefits from that. When will we see the benefits from that? It's going to be a very, very long time before we see the benefits of that. Even Fortnite, Epic's own game, isn't going to see any benefits from Unreal Engine 5 until 2021. And I would say that we probably won't see any third-party games that are utilizing it for at least a year after that, maybe more. But that's a really great question. It was a cool demo, and that flying part at the end, oh man, that looked cool. And one of the things that those guys at Epic kept talking about was how it loads in, so everything loads in so fast. And that's another thing that Stadia has. It loads in everything incredibly fast. Hussein says, by the way, if you guys look at what Hussein typed, he's got that little fish thing. That's because I have what's known as goldfish memory. I forget things all the time. So that's one of the things that members get are those emotes. And we've got a bunch more emotes coming. I got to come up with ideas for what emotes we can include. But yeah, that's what the goldfish means. It means that Bill forgot something. Although you can use it however you want. Anyway, Hussein says, hey, Bill, will we get a higher power games such as Star Citizen or DCS World? What do you mean by higher power games? First off, I don't really know anything about Star Citizen, and I don't know what DCS World is. So I'm going to need a little more information, Hussein. Lloyd says, Unreal Engine 4 was released in 2014. Excuse me. PC tech has gotten way better in the last 6 years. It'll take years for games to surpass the tech demo for actual gameplay. Right. And that was a tech demo. It was not a game. Even though they were playing it on a PS4, PS5, damn it, dev kit in real time, it wasn't a game. Like everything, they restricted a bunch of stuff behind the scenes to show you some really powerful stuff. They require a lot of PC power. I mean, we already have a bunch of games that require a lot of PC power on Stadia. Stadia, supports very, like, look, you want to run Red Dead Redemption 2 on a PC, you're going to spend buckets of cash, or you can just buy it on Stadia and not have to spend all that money. Jem said, I'd argue that Creta is a high-power game. It's limited to Stadia's power, and it's already really impressive. And I agree with that. It's not a game for me, but I agree with what Jem is saying. All right, so saying it'll take time is different from saying that games won't look like that. Okay. I don't think that games will look like that for a very, very long time. And Lloyd is posting something very important there. Just adding AIs to enemies taxes the system too much. Again, we will get there, but it's going to take a very long time. So people saw that demo and they immediately said to themselves, oh, when I get my PS5, this is what the games are going to look like in December. That's not the case. Nobody even has access to Unreal Engine 5 outside of Epic Games, and Epic Games isn't even using it for Fortnite yet. Eric Lights, they already said the games within the first year or 3 on next gen. I don't really understand what you mean by that, Eric. Stadiology says that they weren't impressed with the tech demo. I didn't see anything that I haven't seen already when I'm playing games in Stadia in 4K 60 HDR. I disagree. You know, that real-time lighting demo was really fantastic. That meant, okay, and this goes back to what I said a minute ago, is that right now you get to see a lot of visuals that are very similar to this, but that's through a lot of muscle and effort by the devs to trick our eyes into thinking that we're seeing something that we're not. What do they call it? Lumen, I think. That Lumen system that they were talking about, where it's all real-time lighting, that is huge. And it means that the devs don't have to spend as much time on artificially lighting a scene when they can just put a light source in and move on with their day to work on something else. This is going to speed up game development, and it will mean that developers can spend their time and resources working on other things. It's not always about the graphics, and I know that that's hard for a lot of people to understand, because a lot of people, that's what they see when they look at a game. They see it and they say, wow, that game looks really nice. But the upgrades to Unreal Engine 5, in my opinion, are like that demo, that felt like it was something that should have been shown at GDC. It was cool and I enjoyed watching it, but that felt like something that was a GDC talk that for some reason they used as a consumer talk. And I think that was, I don't want to say that was a mistake, but I think a lot of people got the wrong idea from it. Frank Estrada, the Stadia app is starting to look very populated with games. I wonder when it will be updated to be categorized and give it a clean structure. You know, I agree with you. The app is kind of a mess right now. And not now. It's kind of a mess right now. There's too many games, which is a ridiculous thing to say. There's too many games in. I had to load up Monopoly earlier to take a screenshot for Lloyd and I's for a thumbnail for Lloyd and I's video on Sunday. But if you go through, like, this is not the best way to look through your games. Like, this is terrible. And sure, I can hit see all and have them in a list like that, but that's too much scrolling. They need to have other ways for me to look at this, maybe with smaller icons. Vaxxer says I'm now addicted to Monopoly. They have a list, but the list is terrible. Like, if you click on list, it just really doesn't take up that much less space. They need to sort it by genre, or give me an option for favorites, so I can say, oh, this is a favorite. Jeff Carrier, the PS5 is $400 to $500 more than Stadia. You're not wrong. You can get into Stadia for free. I personally think that the real buy-in for Stadia is, however much a controller. I don't even know how much a controller is off the top of my head. Let me check store.google.com. And let's go Stadia. Oh, here we go. Stadia controller. How much are they? I think they're 70. Yeah, $70. Oh, you can't see it. It's under my face here. Here, I'll move it. I won't move it. I was gonna move it, but I can't move it for some reason. Here we go. There we go. It's $70 for a controller. So I think the minimum buy-in, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, but the minimum buy-in for Google Stadia is $70. Now, somebody might say, well, Bill, you could just play it on your web browser, and you're not wrong. You can just play it on your web browser, and you can just use your existing controllers. But I think in order to have, I don't want to say the best experience, but in order to have a really good experience, I think that you need to have the Stadia controller. I hesitate to say that you need it. I would recommend it, if that makes sense. That being said, you could try it for $0, which is fantastic. And that's really way more than you can say about any of the other platforms. And I got this stupid Slinky in my hand. I'm going to put it over here where I can't reach it. Otherwise, I'm going to keep picking it up. Sarah White has a really good point here. Stadia is not static. PS5 will, like, you buy a launch PS5, and it's going to be the same as the PS5 in a year or so. But with Stadia, Stadia can upgrade over time, and I don't have to spend any money on new hardware, which is awesome. Josh says, I'm using a Steam controller on PC with no problem. Really? When Stadia first came out, I tried to hook up my my Steam controller to it. I couldn't quite figure out how, but I've always had trouble with the Steam controller just acting like a controller. And yet, at the end of the day, I decided I would rather just use what works. But hey, I'm a huge fan of gyro aiming, which is why when I interviewed John Justice about Google Stadia, and we were talking about the controller, I said, are we going to be getting gyro? And he said, no, devs didn't ask for it, which made me sad. Glow SC emulates an Xbox controller, but I want the pad to feel like a mouse. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I played Doom 2016 on my PC, was with my Steam controller, and I used the right thumb pad to be like a mouse, and then my aiming with the gyro was more detailed, and it worked awesome. I don't want the right pad to feel like a joystick. That's the problem with it. DualShock 4 with a USB cable is great, and I get an 8-bit DOE adapter and extended it close to you if possible. In my crosshairs says network troubleshooting turned some people off of Stadia. It isn't as simple as streaming Netflix. At least that's my experience recommending Stadia to family and friends. I totally understand what you're saying. You have to don't think about now. Think about the future. Right now, like, okay, let's actually go to the past. Remember when Netflix said we're gonna stop doing this DVD stuff, and we're going to start streaming your shows to you, and everybody said, well, why in God's name would you do that? Why would I stream it when I could just get a disc mailed to me, right? Everybody said that they were crazy. And the reason everybody said that they were crazy was because internet speeds were pretty slow compared to now. Well, in 5 years, the speeds that you need for 4K or... Okay, I hate to say 8K, but I'm going to say even 8K in 5 years, like speeds for your house, they're going to have no problem sending Stadia data. It's going to be just fine on most people's, and when I say most people, I really do mean most people. Are there big areas of the world where they don't have access to that? Yes, that's true. All right, they will still have bad internet. And that's why, since the beginning of time, I have said that Stadia is not for everybody. It's for me. I think it's awesome. I've been having a blast with it. But you're right. You're right. It's not going to be for everybody. As time goes on, though, it's going to be for more and more people, and that's a thing that I think a lot of people forget about because they only focus on the now. They don't think about the future. Brandon, thank you very much for becoming a member, and then you immediately upgraded from supporters to heroes. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Ryan Anderson just purchased a Nest Wi-Fi. Makes the wireless experience so much better. I have Google Wi-Fi here in the house. It's awesome. So our internet comes in to the house on that side of the house over there, and my wife's sewing room and office is all the way on the other side of the house. And Wi-Fi we always had trouble in that room with Wi-Fi for her TV. Like she would try and she uses Daily Burn, which is like an exercise TV show that she watches when she works out. She watches shows on Netflix and Hulu and stuff. And in that part of the house, it was always terrible. And finally, I got fed up with how terrible it was because she would send me a message, Wi-Fi is not working again. And then I would come down and have to reboot the router and reboot do all of the stuff. And I got sick of it. And finally I said, honey, let's just buy a new Wi-Fi router. And we had a something Nighthawk. I can't remember what it was. And it was fine, except it never reached out there good enough. And we even tried getting extenders, which would make it like it took the signal and replicated it, but it just didn't work very well. So I said, why don't we get one of those mesh networks? One of my friends at work had the Google Wi-Fi, and he was singing its praises. He said that it was fantastic. So it was expensive to get the 3 Wi-Fi point, the 3-point system, but we got it installed. And we've had like 0 issues with Wi-Fi since. We've still had issues with our ISP going, like screwing up, but we've had no issues with the Wi-Fi. It's been awesome. And the amount of control that I have over the network is really, really rad. So for instance, I can set that certain devices belong to my son, certain devices belong to my daughter, and like they have different bedtimes because my daughter is older than my son. So I set it up so that at certain times his stuff shuts off and it's time for him to go to bed, and at a different time her stuff shuts off. And back when we used to go to Taekwondo because we like my wife, my son, and I all train for Taekwondo, we used to have like the Wi-Fi would shut off for my son about 20 minutes before it was time to leave, so that he wouldn't be in the middle of a game when it was time to go. And it was just fantastic. So I highly recommend Google Wi-Fi, or I guess now it's called Nest Wi-Fi. Stadiology, thank you very much for becoming a member. Welcome to being a hero. Everybody who has become a member recently, make sure that you link up your YouTube account with your Discord account. You can Google how to do that. All right, but link those 2 accounts, and now you have access to a supporters only channel in the Discord. Let's see. Perfect Code asks, StadiaCast, if you do have an interview with someone at Stadia in the near future, it would be interesting for you to ask them what they think of the SSD tech in the PS5, Xbox Series X, and what Stadia's plans are for something like that would be for their data centers. I would assume that all of the stuff that they have, well, first off, Google doesn't know exactly what that stuff is that's in that, like the SSD stuff that they have in those other systems. Google isn't going to know any more than we will. They're not going to get that information shared to them. I would assume that everything that Google has is on SSDs. I mean, you've played Stadia. It loads like instantaneously. You turn on, like, load up Destiny 2, right? It's instantaneous how fast you can get into and out of the game. It's really fantastic. As far as asking them about their competition, I'm not going to do that because they're going to say, well, we really don't know anything about that. I would rather ask them questions that they would actually answer. So that they wouldn't answer those kind of questions. Consingo, nobody knows the hard drive sizes for PlayStation 5 or Series X. I will say this. We were watching those Billion Triangle videos the other day. They kept talking about 8K textures and everything, and all I could think of was, I hope you've got a really big hard drive in your system because that's going to take up a lot of space. Games right now are insanely huge. Like, you get Star Wars Battlefront 2, it's well over, I think it's like 120 gigs. That's not an issue on Stadia. You just, you don't have to worry about it. Jem says PS5 SSD size is about 800 gigabytes. Good to know. I think that's, I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't feel like it's enough. I didn't know that they released the hard drive sizes. I gotta be honest, I am very uninterested in either of those systems until they give us the price. Yeah, Sarah White, that's exactly what I'm thinking. You will run out of space so quick. Perfect code, you think it's $500 to $600? I think if they go much higher than that, then they're going to run the risk of the same thing that happened with the PS3. Honestly, I think $500 is the highest that they can really go, which doesn't make any sense because you look at the, like, it. I don't think that that's fair to them because clearly what you are getting with an Xbox Series X or a PS5 is worth more than $500 as far as hardware. But to like, for the average consumer to spend that much money, that is a big chunk of change. That being said, back when the PS3 came out, people weren't spending $1,000 on, on a computer for their pocket. So maybe things have changed. I don't know. Sam, Thursday open mic is back. Well, I don't know if it's always back, but it's back today. Do you guys think that they'll go higher than $500? I'm very curious. Even if it's as little as $400, it's still static and around $270 more than Stadia Premier, and you don't have to get that even. You're not wrong, Sarah, but it doesn't have to be an either-or proposition. You can get, that's the coolest thing about Stadia, is you can still get yourself a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, and then you can also have Stadia. It doesn't have to be an either-or. This doesn't have to be Coke versus Pepsi, right? This can be, I can have both because Stadia doesn't cost you anything. Brand the Builder, not sure if you talked about this, but what's the timeline on getting Stadia for iOS? It almost seems like it's a late 2021 project. Brand, nobody knows the answer to that question, unfortunately. Well, obviously Google and Apple know the answer to that question. It's currently in testing. I applied to see if I could test it. I did not hear back, so I would love to be able to test it out because I don't know if you guys are aware, I am a big iOS guy. Like, this right here is my main computer. This is my iPad Pro 2018, not the 2020. But this is my main computer. I love this thing. It's awesome. Fantastic, fantastic machine. And if I was not a content creator, if I didn't do what I'm doing right now, then I would probably not own a real computer. I would just use my iPad. So I would love it if I could use Stadia on my iPad. Unfortunately, I can't yet, which makes me very, very sad. Yeah, they've been testing it for a while. Corey Banks hates iOS. I'm not going to judge you, but here's the thing, Corey. Why hate it? Like, it works just as good as Android. Android and iOS, like, it's this whole Coke versus Pepsi thing. It doesn't have to be an either or. Not that people are going to have both, because most people won't, but they both work really, really well. And I can attest to that because I've used both. I've used iOS. I started with the original iPhone. That was my first cell phone, was the original iPhone. And then when the Galaxy Note 2 came out, I switched over to Android, and I used that for 2 years, and I really liked it. Hold on a sec. I really liked it. What I didn't like is that Google didn't have a stranglehold on the carriers and the hardware manufacturers the way that Apple did, because Apple puts out an iOS update and almost everybody gets to use it like right away. With Stadia, you idiot. With Google, they didn't have that stranglehold, so they, like, Android had put out a new update, and then I had to wait for Samsung to say it was okay for me to use it, and then I had to wait for AT&T to say it was okay for me to use it before I was able to use it. And then immediately, I complained about this, and this is the response everybody says: well, you can just jailbreak your device. I don't want to do that. I tried it, and a bunch of stuff on my device stopped working right. So it made me want to go back to Apple because it just worked. But at this point, if you have an iOS device in your hand or if you have an Android device in your hand, they both work equally well, and they both can accomplish all of the same tasks equally well. And anybody who says otherwise is just a fanboy who's just trying to have a Coke versus Pepsi war all over again. JB says that's why I like Pixel products. And if I were to go Android, I would get a Pixel. In fact, before I picked up my current phone, which is an iPhone 11 Pro Max, I was waiting to find out what was going to be the next Pixel phone, and that's the one I was going to get. But they didn't sell me on it. They didn't make it compelling enough for me to switch. Consingo, by the way, Consingo, I don't know how to say your name. If you could, like, type out how to spell your name or how to pronounce your name, that would help. Consingo, I don't know. Nice thing about Android is its open source nature. The bad thing is that it makes it impossible to update easily. Fair enough. Mohammed wants to know prediction of a AAA first-party games. It's really hard for me to predict what they're going to be. I'm hoping that it's something that can't possibly be run anywhere else, not because I think that Stadia needs exclusives, but because I think that Stadia needs to show why cloud gaming is the future. Jem says, a few months ago, we were having a discussion on whether to have multiple discs or one disc and download because of the size of next-gen games are super huge. Stadia not having storage problems is huge. Oh, I agree 100%. It, like, every time that Nintendo comes out with a new... hold on a sec. I gotta answer this phone call. Sorry about that. I'm back. All right. Consigno. Okay, Consigno. I'm going to get that right next time. I promise. I'm not going to get it right next time. Yeah, like every time that there's a game on Nintendo Switch where they ship part of the game on the cartridge and then the rest is a download, like that ticks me off. That's a huge problem, and that's not a problem at all on Stadia. By the way, if we could get a like spike where everybody clicks on that like button, I mean, unless you've already clicked it, because that would unlike the video, but if everybody could click that like button, that would be fantastic. It really does help out. All right. Here, you guys keep listening to the music. I will be back in like 2 minutes. I am back. Sorry about that. Where was I? Perfect Code says, I get all of the latest tech, so I will be getting the PS5 and Xbox Series X to see how they are. Perfect Code. Make sure that you come back after you have all of that stuff and let us know which one you prefer. Felt like a fast 2 minutes. It was a fast 2 minutes. You guys like this music? I really like this music. It's perfect to listen to while you're just relaxing and having a conversation. Dinshaw Destur. Do you think Stadia base's player base is 1 million at least? I have no idea. There's no way for me to know that. That being said, first off, Google doesn't like it when you call it Stadia base. All right, they said that it's just Stadia. What is their player base? I have no idea. A lot of people were trying to use the population, of Destiny 2 in order to extrapolate how big the community is. But the problem with that is that they look at Destiny 2 and they see the fluctuations where it goes up and down over and over again. And they're like, oh man, look, there's a bunch of people playing Destiny 2. That must mean there's a bunch of new Stadia players. And then I turned it up too much. And then the music, and then the population of Destiny 2 drops because some new game comes out and everybody goes to play that game. And then everybody's like, oh, Stadia's dying. Here's the thing that I would say. I wouldn't worry about it. Is it a problem? Right now? Yes. It is a problem. It is a problem that there's less people that are playing on Stadia than there are on other platforms, because that means it's harder to get a multiplayer game. I've heard nightmare stories of people trying to get an online game in Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I've not run into that because I'm not interested in that game. I've heard stories of people waiting for ages in order to get like certain modes in Destiny 2. Again, that's awful. That's a bad experience. And you know who that's on? That's on the developers of those games. Because when I picked up the Division 2 and started playing it, guess what? I was in the same game lobby with people on PC. You know, I had a friend who was playing on PC and a friend who was playing on Stadia, and the three of us got in a group together and played the Division 2 together, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. And Google has said over and over and over again, we want cross-platform with our games, and some games have done that and some games haven't. Now, why do some developers choose not to do that? probably because Sony won't let them. Sony says, you know what? I don't think that you're going to do that. Or Sony made them wait so long to do it that now they're like, for these older games, for us to do cross-platform, it's a lot of extra work, and we don't want to do that work right now, and we're not going to see that much of a return on our investment by doing that work, so let's not do that. However, what I anticipate happening is in the future, as new games come out, a brand new game that comes out on the Xbox Series X and the PS5 and Google Stadia, my guess is that will be cross-platform. In fact, there was this really cool thing. A lot of people stopped paying attention as soon as the pretty graphics weren't on screen anymore for that Epic Games announcement the other day, the Unreal 5 stuff. And that was when Tim Sweeney started talking about Epic Games being the link between all of your other online things. And if you were to ask me, Bill, who do you think does online the best? I would say Fortnite does online the best. It's cross-platform, it's cross-progression, and you sign into your account and you have all of the stuff that you have no matter where you're playing. That's who does it the best. And basically, he was saying, look, we're going to do that for everybody. So you log onto your computer and you sign in with your PlayStation account. It brings in all your stuff from your PlayStation account. Then you buy an Xbox and you sign in with your Epic account, and it brings all your stuff over to Xbox so that you have the same stuff no matter where you're playing. And that is going to be huge. And moving forward, I think that's going to be the new normal. Everybody needs to remember that the games that we're playing right now, these games that we're all playing right now, are older games that were ported to Stadia. And that brings with it some detriments, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. So as far as graphics, games not running at, the highest resolution or the highest frame rate. I don't know why the music got so quiet. As far, games not running at the highest resolution or highest frame rate, that's because they're ports. Games not having cross-platform, that's because they're ports. And they're doing the least possible amount of work in order to get their game on the new platform. They can't deliver Rome in a day. Amazing SKM. Sony has more games cross-platform with PC than any other console maker, and Sony has allowed cross-platform to any platform since last year. So no, it's the developers. Well, but Sony was holding out. Sony was holding out big time. They wouldn't let anybody do cross-platform with other consoles. That's the thing. Yeah, it does cross-platform with PC, but they would not allow anybody to do cross-platform with other consoles. And it took somebody as huge and ridiculously big as Fortnite in order to force Sony to do the right thing. Happy Cloud Gamer. Hey Bill, what camera do you use? I always wondered. This is a Sony a6000, but there you go right there. If you type !gear, just like Ray did, you can see all of the gear that I use in order to make the show. No problem, man. Yeah, but I started using the Logitech, not the C920, whatever was before the C920. I can't remember what it was. It's a terrible webcam. I had that one, and I used this microphone. I used this microphone for a while. This is the Samson Meteor mic. was this was the first microphone that I used for streaming. I think that was like 4 years ago. It's kind of cool. It folds up. And the good thing about it is on the back, it has a headphone jack, so you could monitor. Basically, you could hear everything in real time, which is very important. But yeah, this was my first microphone that I used. This microphone is a Heil PR40, which is a very high-end microphone that I got because I'm a podcaster. Jem says, speaking of Fortnite forcing Sony, what do you think about Fortnite giving in to Google and releasing their game on the Play Store? I think that that's good. I think what Epic Games, like Epic Games is doing, they're doing good things, but they're going about it the wrong way, in my opinion. And I've talked about this a bunch on my other shows. By buying up exclusivity deals and stuff like that, it really ticks me off. I never like it when a bag of money is the reason that a game is not released on a platform. Like, here's a bag of money. Don't make your game for don't make your game for them. Make it for us. And I understand that sometimes that bag of money is the difference between having a game made at all and not having a game made. I understand that. But just generally, I would prefer if games were put out on all platforms so that everybody could play, no matter what their platform of choice was. That's what I would really like. And obviously, I understand first-party stuff that doesn't make sense. You're not going to see Mario on Xbox. I'm okay with that. But I don't like it when, when Epic Games goes and they say, "Hey, indie dev, here's a big bag of money. Don't bring your game to Steam." I think that that's just kind of slimy. That being said, the thing that Epic Games is doing that I really like is this whole idea of having a 12% cut of the sales instead of a 30% cut of the sales. And Apple and iOS both do a 30% cut. Steam does a 30% cut. And I do wish that the stores would take a smaller cut to give the publishers more money, that would give the devs more money so that we could see more games. Hey there, David K. Ray wants to know when the next Connect is. Did they just say summer? I think they just said summer. Jamie, it's the C910. It probably is. It might have actually been before the C910 because it was real cheap. I think it was like a $40 camera, and that was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. JB, can't wait till we can get direct streaming to YouTube. Dude, you have no idea. I cannot wait for that. That is going to be a huge and awesome day. Something else that I got thinking about. I was playing The Division 2, and I was in a group, and they were using voice chat. I couldn't hear them because I didn't have my controller. Oh, it's charging. I didn't have my headphones plugged into my controller, right? So I couldn't talk to them. But most of the time, I use these headphones. These are my Arctis Pro Wireless, which I love these headphones. They're fantastic. And they have their own connection, and they have Bluetooth, so you can do both at the same time. And I really want Bluetooth with this controller, not so I can use it on like another like a computer or something, but so that I can connect these headphones to it through Bluetooth, because wires are the worst. I hate wires. But yeah, direct streaming to YouTube is going to be huge, and that's one of the things that I thought we would definitely see when Stadia launched, and we didn't. And that made me very, very sad, because that is the democratization of streaming. Like, that means anybody can be a streamer, no matter how crappy their computer is. Ryan Anderson, anybody try Pixel Buds 2 with Stadia? I don't have Pixel Buds 2. I heard that somebody was complaining that there was some kind of delay, but that happens with Bluetooth headphones. I mean, maybe older Bluetooth headphones. I don't know. I heard not great things about the Pixel Buds 2, which is too bad. Andrew Wilson, I use that exact headset. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. The thing that I love most about this headset is how quickly you can pop the battery out and then swap another battery in. Like, that's just awesome. Your Pixel Buds crash your Chromebook every time you tap them. It's so weird. That is weird. Hey, Bill, what's 5 times 5 times 3 minus 9? What? Ask Google. Why are you asking me? I'm not a robot. Yeah, the thing about yeah, I know order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I don't know. The thing about the Pixel Buds is you would think that Google, they would get it right. They would spend the extra cash and time to get it right. But I feel like, and that's one of the reasons why I've just kept skipping over the Pixel phones, because every time that the new one comes out, there's a review and they're like, oh, it's so close. And it's always so close. Tune in for a special broadcast on Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red. I'm excited for that game. It looks cool. Consino, the thing that that you got to remember is just because a streamer signs up with YouTube doesn't have anything necessarily to do with Stadia. Alphabet, which is the parent company, they own all of this stuff, and just because one company is working with you on one spot doesn't mean that they're going to work together in another spot. Perfect example is that right now we have 0 games from Activision Blizzard on Google Stadia, but Google and Activision have partnered so that all of their stuff is streamed on YouTube, and all of the server hardware that Activision Blizzard is using these days is all Google stuff. But we still don't see any Stadia stuff from them. Now, does that mean that we never will? No, I think that eventually we will. But just because they're partnered in one area doesn't mean that that partnership will extend to another area. So just because you see, a big streamer sign on with YouTube, that doesn't mean that they're going to start using Stadia suddenly. Brett, I agree with you. Not for me, because I don't want physical stuff, but I think that it would be awesome if I could go into a store and buy, we'll say, Cyberpunk 2077 for Google Stadia, and it would come with like some cool statue or something, and then a code that I can then just put in to unlock my game. I have to say, talking about streaming and YouTube, I was watching, like you guys are all watching a YouTube stream right now. Does it drive you crazy? The amount of, like, if you're watching this on a PC, like, did anybody here use YouTube gaming and watch people stream on YouTube gaming, because I did. And the UI was so much better than watching somebody stream on YouTube, because I could like scroll up or something, and it would take this window and it would make the window bigger to fill up the whole screen except for chat on the right. It was so much better. And now you can't do that. Like, I even tried like forcing it by going to up on the top where it says gaming, or where it says youtube.com, and put gaming in front of it to try and get that old UI back where the picture was bigger and chat was on the right hand side. It's just, the UI is terrible on YouTube, and it makes me not want to watch it. Like, I was watching Lloyd stream, by the way, Lloyd has been streaming Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was watching him the other day, and I was like, this is terrible. Not because of his stuff, but because there was just so much wasted space, and I couldn't make the picture bigger. And if I clicked theater mode, then it moved chat down below, and I couldn't see it anymore. I have to say, I love the way that chat works on YouTube. Like, I think that chat on YouTube is better than chat on Twitch. Just the way that it looks, the way that the super chats show up. I think that that's really fantastic. I really, really like that. I just can't stand the overall UI of the whole platform. And Andrew, you're not wrong. You can pop out chat if you have dual monitors. That's a ridiculous solution, though. You know what I mean? And you're talking to somebody that has 3 monitors. Like, I've got a monitor right here, a monitor right here, and a monitor right there. And I've got an iPad and my iPhone down here on my desk. I'm surrounded by screens. Brett, what do you think about the lack of Stadia pre-orders for games? There was a recent Destroy All Humans video, that lacked a Stadia logo because it was a pre-order video. I think that there's a million people out there that every time that there's a video, a lot of people who are fans of Stadia, and a lot of those people watch this show, right? But every time that there's a game that doesn't show the Stadia logo, they all collapse and are like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I think that people just need to relax. You can't do anything about it. Just learn to relax. As far as you're right, pre-order videos are going to leave the Stadia logo off because there's apparently no way to pre-order, which is ridiculous. Why don't you want us to give you our money early? Excuse me, would you like my money now? Oh, no, thanks. Why don't you just wait until it actually comes out? Well, I might change my mind by then. Well, but still, you might need that money. So hold on to it. We don't want it yet. Just hold on to it. So the idea that Stadia doesn't allow pre-orders is kind of crazy to me. And I don't understand, like, maybe there's a technical reason why, but I can't imagine what it is. Then again, I'm not an engineer. But of course they're going to leave the Stadia logo off of a pre-order video because all that's going to do is confuse customers. Like, customers are going to look at it and they're going to be like, oh, I can pre-order that on Stadia. And then they'll go to Stadia. They can't find it. And then they're mad. And they think that you don't know what the hell you're doing. What does this do? I think at the end of the day, it costs the developers money. The developers would have made money off somebody, and now they're not going to. I mean, James MC saying, I want to pre-order so that I can play at launch and not fool with buying. It takes like 13 seconds to buy something at launch. But It would still be cool if it would just show up in my inventory if I bought it ahead of time. Sarah White says, genuinely, Bill, I think they're just trying to improve the sales ethics. And I understand why you would say that, because there's a lot of like pre-order bonuses and stuff like that, which always ticks me off. I can't stand it when they're like, pre-order at GameStop and get this DLC thing that's exclusive to get, like that kind of stuff. No, thank you. That being said, if I want to give a company my money and they don't let me give them my money, that is lost sales. That is potentially a lost sale, because by the time I can give you my money, I may decide to give it to somebody else for something else. Andrew says, can you think they need a baseball game too, please? I recently got a review copy of Super Mega Baseball 3 on Nintendo Switch. It is super, super fun. But then again, I liked Super Mega Baseball 2, and I don't like sports games, but it's a fun game. Jamie says, why hasn't there been any new information on Baldur's Gate 3? Because they're not ready to share that information yet. The game is still in pre-production. Or in production. They're going to launch early access on PC and Stadia when they're ready. And they're not going to share any information ahead of time because they're too busy. They got their heads down working. JB says Stadia Chromecast UI needs to get better. You know what? I agree that it needs to get better. Another thing that it needs to have is the ability for me to make a party link. You know what? We've had this on here for ages. Let me bring this up. All right, it's gonna get blurry here for a second. Oh, that's not right. Hold on. Where is it? Where's the... I went the wrong way. There you go. All right. Parties coming to app soon. It said that for a very, very, very long time. And I can't stand that we don't actually have those parties yet. Let me make sure that this is in focus now. There we go. Parties coming to app soon. I was playing Division the other day, and I wanted to drop a party invite to anybody who was a member. So in our Discord, we have a channel that is just for supporters. And so what I had to do, the stupid workaround, I had to open up Stadia in my browser, start a party, get the link, close Stadia in my browser, open it up on my Chromecast, because that's where I prefer to play, and get back into the game, and that way I could drop the link. It's a ridiculous workaround that I shouldn't have to do. Why can I not do it on my phone yet? Drives me crazy. Consigno, side-scrolling on my library on CCU is already getting awkward. You know what they need to do? We need to be able to hit the triggers to move over a page at a time and make the icons smaller, or give me 2 rows. David K, achievements are in there, man. I want to be able to go on to Stadia and say, don't tell me about my achievements. If I want to know them, I'll look them up. Stadiology. Bill, will you be purchasing PGA 2K21? I know most people don't like golf games. I actually like golf games. However, I'm not a simulation golf game, and my guess is that this is going to be way too precise for me, and I'll probably be really bad at it. But if it's a little more arcadey and a little less simulation-y, then I'll probably jump in with both feet, because I do like a really good golf game. I'm a fan of golf games. So Sarah White, are the PGA are the PGA 2K games, are they arcadey or are they simulation-y? I played golf once in my life, like actual golf. I was real bad at it. I would love to play it again, but it is far too expensive a hobby to get into, especially when I already have one expensive hobby, which is content creation. By the way, just a reminder to everybody who's watching right now, if you ever think about being a content creator like Lloyd and I, and you want advice about being a content creator and how to do stuff, join our Discord at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. There's a link in the description down below. Join the Discord, and in there is a channel called Content Creation where you can get advice. David K says the achievement system sucks. I don't like the word sucks. I like less than optimal. The achievement system is less than optimal on Stadia. We have to have a point system attached to them so they count for something. I disagree. Why do they have to count for something? Isn't the doing of the thing worth something to you? And if it's not, then maybe you want to re-examine why you're playing the game. Waiting for a YouTube integration? Yeah, me too. Would Stadia run on a stream book? I don't know what a stream book is, Chad C. If it has a real Google Chrome, then probably. Dissenter agrees with David. Well, here's the thing. I don't care if they add points. I just don't think that they need to add points. I'm not against points. I'm not like, get your points out of here. Like, that's not my argument. My argument is, I just don't care. But if points are the only reason that you are playing the game, then maybe you want to think about why you're playing the game. Like, playing the game should be the fun part. Andrew Wilson says, Bill says, by the way, immediately remember I've not clicked the like button yet. By the way, click the like button. Why, is that a thing that I say? Do I say, by the way, like the video? I probably do. Like, we all have our things that we lean back on. Like, Lloyd says 100% a lot of the times. All right. Well, I'm going to try to stop saying by the way. That'll teach me. It's cool with me. Keep leaning, Bill. Thanks, Corey. All right. Shay Jackman says, hey, Bill, do you see or have you heard any reason why Stadia does not run a Chrome browser on iOS, yet it does on my Pixel 2? Even the Stadia controller works wirelessly on my Pixel. Here's the reason why. Chrome on iOS, not Chrome. It's just a skinned version of WebKit. It's not actually Chrome. And so that's why it doesn't work. You got to have Chrome. But it is in testing. So I'm sure that at some point in the, I don't know, I would like to say near future, but at some point in the future, we'll have access to Stadia on iOS. At least I really hope so. Wilson says Streets of Rage 4 on Stadia would be great. I think the developer said no, which is too bad. I wouldn't buy it on Stadia anyway. I got it for free on Xbox Game Pass. Or I got it as part of Xbox Game Pass. It wasn't free. Ray, yeah, you can use the controller wirelessly with your Pixel if you are using it in like Chrome desktop mode, not in the actual Stadia app though. Hey Bill, do you think we'll see any other game streaming services in the browser? I'm sure that Amazon's Project Tempo will be in the browser. I'm sure that at some point in the near future, Xbox or xCloud will be in the browser as well. I think it's kind of crazy that xCloud doesn't let you play on PC. I would be far more likely to try that out more often. Like I have access to the test flight on iOS, but I would love to try it in the browser, and for some reason they're not doing that. JB, that Amazon MMO looks pretty interesting too. New World is the game you're talking about, I believe. I think it looks okay. I despise the UI for that game. I think the UI is just straight up bad. And they pivoted that game quite a bit. Like originally, it was like more player versus player run, and then they kind of switched to a PvE mode with guild versus guild stuff happening. It doesn't seem like the kind of MMO that I would get into. I'm more interested in Elder Scrolls Online, and of course, I would love it if we got Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft on Stadia. John, are you talking about the Stadia Pro? Yeah, that's a 2-month. Yeah, that is a limited time offer. You're an MMO guy? Let's see. MMOs that I've played. Started with Muds back in the day. Can't remember any of them. Then Ultima Online. And then EverQuest. And then World of Warcraft. And Anarchy Online I played. What other? Star Wars Galaxies. Star Wars The Old Republic. Asheron's Call 2. I tried Terra. Oh god. Lord of the Rings Online. Obviously Elder Scrolls Online. Man, I played so many MMOs. MMOs are my favorite genre of game. Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2, I played both of those. You'd love to play Ultima Online on Stadia? I don't think you would. I mean, I don't know if you play. Yes, I played WildStar. Okay, so first off, back to Ultima Online. Ultima Online was fantastic. It was an amazing game. I had so much fun with it. And then when they changed the game to split it into PvP and PvE modes, it just kind of broke the game. Now, WildStar was amazing. It was such a great game. It had the best dungeon experience and the worst marketing department. Like, they marketed that game to hardcore raiders from World of Warcraft without realizing that the people that they were marketing to were not going to leave their characters and their teams for a new game, because they've been playing with these people. The hardcore raiders had been playing with their same group of people forever. And getting everybody to leave all at once is really, really hard to do. They never should have marketed the game that way, because everybody else who wasn't interested in hardcore raiding, they looked at WildStar and they said, oh, I'm not a hardcore raider. That game's probably not for me. And that was a huge mistake on their part, because that game was awesome. It had a wonderful, wonderful telegraph system that made the moment-to-moment gameplay in the dungeons incredibly fun. And ultimately, that game died because of the marketing department, in my opinion. Robin, does WildStar still exist? I bet you that they have, like, fake servers up someplace. Oh, City of Heroes. Yeah, I played that too. I never played Champions Online, but I played a lot of Cities of Hero. Yeah, Sarah White. That's right. They understood the game, not the community. That's awesome. Yeah. And I think that Stadia made that same mistake with their marketing at the beginning. And I don't know if it's because they listened to what Lloyd and I were saying and others in the community, but, you know, we kept saying, stop talking about the resolution and the frame rate and all that stuff and just talk about how convenient it is. And it seems like they have started making that decision. Maybe it's because they were listening to us. Maybe it's because they came to the same conclusion. I don't know. But for them to change what they were saying and start talking about how convenient Stadia is, I feel like that is one of the things that is going to make them succeed ultimately. Corey Blanks, Phantasy Star Online was dope. Listen, Corey, I've got a podcast called 143 Pixels. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can go to anchor.fm/143. I'm going to type it in chat right now. Anchor.fm/143. All right. Go there and subscribe. And there's an episode where a friend of mine and I talk about Phantasy Star Online. There's an episode where a friend of mine and I talk about... Oh, there's an episode where I talk to David Brevik, the creator of Diablo, about his obsession with EverQuest. There's an episode where a friend of mine and I talk about World of Warcraft, and there's an episode about Ultima Online. So these are not news podcasts. It's a podcast about... Every episode, I have one friend on, and that friend brings the one game that they feel that they need to talk about, and we have a conversation about it. I'm really, really proud of that show, so make sure you check it out if you haven't already. And I just finished. Season 3 launched on Tuesday, so we're going to have a bunch of new episodes every week. And then I'm still in the midst of recording Season 4, and Season 4 has Brian Ibbett from The Morning Stream, and it also so far has Tony P. Henderson, who was kind of, sort of, in the Avengers, and then it also has Andre Segers from Game Explain on it. So, like, I'm getting a bunch of people who love talking about video games to come on. We're having a blast. Dissenter says, I want all the Ks. Bring me the 8K 120 FPS. And I'm sure that we'll get that stuff eventually, but it's going to be years down the road. And I think what's better is if they just talk about how convenient it is and then show us the games. And when we see the games, we're going to be like, those look really nice. Doesn't matter what the number is. Those look really nice. Oh, and it's convenient? Sold. Do you think Minecraft might come to Stadia? I don't know. You see, I mean, it's already everywhere else, right? Like, it's on Nintendo, it's on PlayStation, it's on everything. But it was on all of those things before Microsoft bought it, you know? But then Microsoft bought it, and they ported it to Switch. Even though Switch is like their competitor. So... does Microsoft bring the game to Stadia, another competitor? I don't know. I'd like to think that Microsoft understands that the more people that have access to their game, the more money they're going to make. But they may also say, Minecraft is big enough to make people buy an Xbox. So maybe they'll hold it for Xbox. C's 0106. That's what we're going to have on Xbox Series X. They've shown that off, and it looks really good. Sam, I don't know what's causing that problem, man. I'll say this. I'm not a huge Minecraft fan anymore, but I used to play it a bunch, and modded Minecraft is amazing. My favorite version of Minecraft is Sky Factory, where you start out on a tree in the middle of the sky with a block underneath the tree, and that's all that you start with, and then you end up, like, I ended up making, like, nuclear reactors and stuff. It was a crazy thing. Super fun. Kaylin says, hey Bill, I have this daunting feeling that it's going to fail for lack of advertising, which is a shame because it has such potential. I assume that you're talking about Stadia. I don't see Stadia failing. You're talking about Google, an advertising company that owns YouTube. Like, it's a platform that doesn't have to be purchased. The developers are going to be porting their games to Stadia because it opens up a wider audience for their stuff. It removes a barrier to entry and gets rid of some of the friction to buying a game. This is going to succeed. I'm 100% sure that Stadia is going to succeed. Is it going to succeed instantaneously like everybody expected? No. Because it got a bunch of bad press at the very beginning. Why did it get bad press? Because a bunch of people heard that it was streaming and decided ahead of time that that meant it needed to be the Netflix of games. And while I like the idea of the Netflix of games, Game Pass is awesome, and honestly, it's the best deal in gaming. But then Google came out and said, hey, it's not the Netflix of games. It's this other thing that we have. And the immediate reaction from so many people was, oh, well, then it's garbage because it's not what I expected it to be. The further that we get from that moment where everybody was expecting the Netflix of games and then we didn't get the Netflix of games, the further that we get from that moment, the more that people are going to be open to the idea of trying Stadia, especially because it's free. All it takes is a game like, we'll say a first-party game. This is going to be huge. A first-party game from Google where people are going to try it and it's just going to work, and they're going to be like, oh, well, that just works. Or it didn't even have to be a first-party game. Just a game that is going to be like, maybe you don't have a PS4 or an Xbox. Maybe you only have a Nintendo Switch or kind of a crappy PC, and there's like this crazy game that's coming out, and you don't have one of those other things, and you have to make a decision. You either have to buy a giant, they're not that big. You either have to buy a box to put under your PC in order to play this game, or you can just play this game and try it out with the demos, which when I interviewed John Justice, he said, we're going to get demos. So when we get those demos and people can just try it, that's going to sell people on Stadia, especially because the cost to try Stadia is zero. It doesn't cost you anything. If I want to turn around and buy or like try an Xbox, I have to pay money for that privilege. Stadia has a free-to-play game, PUBG. Yes, you're right, Justin, but you have to be a Stadia Pro subscriber to play that game. Okay, Jimbo is saying something interesting. He says Stadia will sweep up the people who can't afford / can't get the new consoles, especially if release games are also coming to Stadia. Yes, but it's also very appealing to people who have multiple screens that they want to play on. Like if I want to play on my Chromebook, or I want to play on my TV, or I want to play on my computer in this room, Stadia works on all of those. And that's a very compelling thing. Right now, if I want to play on my PS4, I have to be in this seat. I can't play anywhere else in the house. I can only play on that spot right here because this is the screen that my PS4 is hooked up to. So I don't get to play anywhere else in the house. But if my family's downstairs hanging out, playing Animal Crossing together, and I want to go downstairs and play the Division 2, I can. And I have. And it works awesome. I just grab my phone, I open it up, I say play on the living room TV, and I grab my controller and start playing. It's fantastic. And that's the thing that's going to grab a whole bunch of people. People who already have an Xbox and a PlayStation and a Nintendo Switch and a PC. And they're going to be like, oh, wait, I can play in a bunch of different places? That's so convenient. JB says Stadia needs a driving wheel or a third-party driving wheel for driving games. As long as your controller is HID compliant, it should work with Stadia, JB. Smashblock says PlayStation has remote play. You're not wrong about that. It has remote play, but I can't do that on my TV in the other room. Like I can remote play from my PlayStation to my computer, but I can't do it to my TV. Not without a huge workaround. Stadia just makes it super easy. Bill, we were talking about what peripherals should come to Stadia. Oh, yeah, chat goes by so fast. I can't read it all. Especially because I like to look at the camera while I'm making a point. Raul says, hey, Bill, but with remote play, you have to activate it on your PS4. Well, no, I understand that, but I don't have a device hooked up to my TV in the other room that allows me to connect my PS4 via remote play. And, actually, I did. I have a... it's basically a PS Vita that you hook up to a TV. What the hell is that thing called? Was it just called PS TV? I had one of those devices, and I hooked it up, and it did not work for streaming a game from my PS4 to my TV 10 feet that way. It just didn't work. Very irritated by that. Sam, are you using Chrome, or are you using like your phone app? Sarah White says remote play also uses your own upload, so it's not good at all. I mean, I've got fantastic upload, and it just did not work very well. Which is too bad, because I was excited about it. You're using Chrome. Well, and I don't have any advice for you then, Sam. I'm not sure. Maybe you shouldn't have to do a workaround like this, but try popping out chat and then sending the video. Does anyone else not like the audio controls on the Chromecast? Why does the party chat get lowered when I lower the Chromecast sound? I don't really use the parties, so I don't know. I tend to use Discord if I'm playing online. Bernard Baker, question for you. If you were a game developer, what do you imagine would be a need/desire from Google to incentivize you to put it on Stadia? Okay, so if I'm a game developer, I'm putting my game on Stadia because that means that my potential customers don't have to buy a thing to give me money. So I don't need incentive. I don't need to be incentivized in order to get to decide to put my game on Stadia, because putting it on Stadia means that now I can sell you my game right through my website, and you can start playing it instantaneously without having to spend any money whatsoever other than to give me the money for the game. That is huge, and so many developers are going to look at Stadia that way, and I think a lot of them already are. We just haven't heard about them yet because they've got their heads down. They're working hard, and we're going to get that stuff eventually. Sarah White, Discord integration with Stadia would be a heck of a good move. Oh, that would be amazing. Never going to happen. Do I think Rockstar will release GTA 6 on Stadia? I would assume so. Why don't I think that that Google will work with Discord? I just don't see it happening. I don't see Google's going to make their own. That's what they do. They're going to make their own solution. They already did. Why would they throw that away for Discord? Something that's outside of their control. No problem, Sam. I'm glad I could help. Rhaegor says a dongle that connect to Stadia server that you could connect to any peripheral would be nice. I would like my Stadia controller. It's probably charged by now. This is a USB-C port on the back, right? I would love it, not for me, but for others, if they sold a keyboard and mouse that hooked up to this, and then you could play, like you could plug them into the back of your controller and use it as like a Wi-Fi thing. I mean, it'd be even better if they just sold a keyboard and mouse for Stadia. I don't think they're going to do that. Exactly what Jem is saying. Yeah, if you're already making it with the current middleware, you're going to bring it to Stadia as well. C says some people were inspecting the APK for Stadia. Yeah, that was from 9 to 5 Google, and they saw messaging in the APK. Yep, I'm sure that we will have text messaging coming soon. Or, I don't know about soon. At some point. I did watch his stream, Gavin. It was awesome. Stadia needs one more thing, Battlefield. I think Battlefield would help. I don't think Stadia needs it. Very hyped for Star Wars Fallen Order. Yeah, I'm hyped for that as well. What was the release date for that? I can't remember. Star Wars Fallen Order Stadia. The first EA title to hit Stadia is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The game first launched on PS4, Xbox One, and other platforms in November, but it won't be arrive until this fall. So we don't know exactly when, but this fall. You know what I would assume I would assume that when it comes out, it will be launching alongside the Xbox Series X version and the PS5 versions. Any thoughts on Family Share coming this year? That's all I'm missing. Listen, the sooner that happens, the better. I've got, quite a large Stadia library right now. Let me see how many games I've got on here. Close that. My games. See all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 29. I got 29 games on Stadia. And it would be awesome if I could share some of those games with my family. Brett says, I think Stadia usage will increase as more new games are released that support Xbox, PlayStation, and Stadia, especially if Stadia has the free demos that get people to try the new game in Stadia. I agree. Right now, the reason why the population of people who have Stadia is lower is because a lot of people, I mean, I didn't, but a lot of people had already played a lot of these games. Like, you look at Destiny 2, people have been playing that for years. You look at The Division 2, it's been out for quite a long time. A lot of the games that we're playing on Google Stadia, people have already played and finished and moved on from. So why would they invest in Stadia? And you might say, well, that's a problem. But that happens with every launch. So many platform launches come with tons and tons of ports. And sometimes it catches on and sometimes it doesn't. The difference with Stadia is that there is no investment in hardware that needs to happen in order for people to play it. So if you have missed out on one of those games, or if a new game comes out and it's on Stadia, you can then try that game out or play that game at no cost to you other than just buying the game. Of course, people are going to be playing it on Stadia. There's a reason why I looked at Stadia. Like, the day that they announced it, I looked at it and I said, this is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. This is the future of gaming. Cloud gaming is the future of gaming. Whether or not Stadia is the winner here, and I don't know if it will be, but cloud gaming is the future, and that's why I got excited about it. Oh my God, CISO106, you are not wrong. Destiny 2 is a very confusing game. Incredibly confusing. It's fun, but man, it is a confusing game. Is the audio levels okay? I should have asked this, sooner than an hour and 40 minutes into the stream, but are the audio levels with my voice and the music in the background okay? What would a potential Stadia beating service have? It would be just like Stadia, but with more games. There you go. The audio is perfect. Awesome. Great. Thank you. And I know that there's people out there who, and here's the thing, everybody makes the comparison between xCloud and Stadia, and they're like, xCloud has all of these other games, and they're not wrong. xCloud does have all of these other games. But that's people trapped in old thinking. That's people who are trapped in the idea of the console wars, Coke versus Pepsi, where you can't have xCloud and Stadia, because you can have xCloud and Stadia, because you don't have to buy a thing in order to play either of those things. Now, the reason why I think personally why I'm more excited for Stadia, notice I didn't say better, all right? But the reason I'm more excited for Stadia than I am for xCloud is because xCloud is basically giving you access to an Xbox in the cloud, which is fine. But that just means that the games that are running on xCloud are the same ones that are going to be running on an Xbox. Does that mean that those are bad games? No. It just means that those are games that have the same limitations that every other platform currently does. But because Stadia is only in the cloud and only in the data center, they have the ability to do weird things that they can't otherwise do. And that is why it's very exciting. So for something to beat Stadia, I don't know that Stadia can fail, because you can try Stadia and do other stuff. Now, maybe if all of the developers abandon it, then it would fail. But I don't see that happening because it's just too lucrative of an investment for developers. They can look at it and say, we can sell you a game without having to sell you a box. That's really compelling. Consino, xCloud is only mobile, right? Microsoft isn't going to put xCloud on PC yet, as that cannibalizes their hardware sales. You know, I don't know. I would really, really like it if xCloud was on PC. I don't know if they're going to or not. I would like to try it on PC. And yeah, Ian says you can side load it. As soon as you start doing that as the solution, it becomes too much of a pain for people to really deal with. That's not a real solution. That's only a solution for super nerds like us. I have to buy a thing or to play xCloud or Amazon Tempo to play on TV. Well, to be fair, if you want to play on a TV, you have to buy a thing with Stadia as well. You can't do it otherwise. Why is this song quiet at the end? I hate that. Let me ask you, you know what? Let me do a straw poll real quick. I'm curious what you guys think. Straw poll. I'm going to do a quick straw poll. Which would you prefer more? What are these? All right. What's this do here? Create a poll. Copy. All right. Here, I'm going to do a quick poll. I want to know what you guys think. Click on that poll. And let me hit results. I'm curious if you all would prefer more open mics like this or more streams where I'm playing a game. And we've got over 150 people here, so this is I love seeing the results so quickly. Wow. You guys really like the open mic streams. Okay. That is surprising to me. Like big time. I'll be honest, the open mic streams are way easier for me because I can pay attention to chat so much more because I'm not distracted by the game. All right. I'm going to come back to this in a little bit. But thank you for the insight. I'll look at that some more in a little bit. I'm just going to put it on a... Actually, I'll just close it for now. Jem says, I chose Secret Option C Monopoly streams. Well, guess what? We're going to have a Monopoly stream on Sunday after the podcast. So Lloyd and I are going to do the podcast, and then we're going to play Monopoly. Once this is an open mic, though, most people watching now probably like them. That's true, but I also have way more people show up when I do an open mic than when I play a game. Watching live broadcast together would be cool too, Bill. I don't understand what you mean by that, Sarah White. Bran, I get what you're saying. It's too hard for me to... like, when I'm playing a game, I have trouble paying attention to chat. I don't understand how people do it. Especially when you've got this many people here. It doesn't mean that I won't do game streams. I'm just curious what people thought. Low land profits. You can play that game without a Stadia controller. You just have to plug a controller into your computer. There needs to be stakes on the Monopoly stream. If Lloyd wins, Bill has to say Monopoly is the greatest board game. I don't know. Maybe Lloyd and I will come up with a bet as to who wins. My guess is that we won't finish that game that day. Regner says, do you have more success with Nintendo Channel or this one? Well, so that's a great question, Regor. So my podcast, Nintendo Switchcraft, that show has been downloaded well over 1.5 million times. It is one of the top Nintendo podcasts, and I make way more money from doing my Nintendo show than I do from Stadia Cast. This show does so much better on YouTube than my Nintendo stuff does. I'm not sure why, because I feel like the content, the quality of the content is equally as good. So it's hard for me to really compare the two, because one succeeded on the podcast platform much better than the other, and the other succeeded much better on the YouTube platform. Does that make sense? My favorite game on Stadia so far, it depends, because there's so many different really good games on Stadia. Most recently, I finished Doom Eternal. That game was just so good. Do I plan on streaming Cyberpunk 2077, being that it's so explicit? Maybe, Isaiah. I don't know. The thing that you may have noticed is that whenever I do content that is explicit, like the other day when I streamed The Division 2, I put an M for mature icon on the thumbnail so that people understand that this is a game that, you know, is probably very explicit. C's 2106 or 0106 says, I've always been able to play Stadia on 1080p, no stutter, no lag on Chromecast, but when I try to play on Chrome, it doesn't even start. What do you think? C's, I don't really have an answer for you, but what I will say is that make sure that you're, plugged in with Ethernet. The Nintendo show is older too. StadiaCast is only a year old. That's true, but StadiaCast, the podcast, gets far fewer downloads than my Nintendo show. My Nintendo show gets easily twice the downloads per episode. Wally Snyder, Stadia, get a normal console. All right. I mean, I have normal consoles, but I also am interested in what the future holds. Thanks for stopping by, though, Wally. But, you know, the Nintendo show, Nintendo, by the way, if you haven't already subscribed to Nintendo Switchcraft, please consider doing so. Nintendo Switchcraft is the name of my Nintendo show. The thing about that show and Stadia is that they both have some very similar genesis. I sat there and I saw the launch of the Nintendo Switch and I said, oh, this is going to be huge. I'm making a show about it. And same thing happened with Stadia. I saw Stadia and I said, this is going to be huge. I'm making a show about it. Water Rice says, I feel like the audiences are different. Stadia generally seems to be older. I disagree. I think that the Nintendo audience tends to be an older audience. I feel like just from the things that are said in chat, I feel like the Stadia audience tends to skew younger, which surprised me. Ray says, keep us posted on other things that will be huge. I will. And Brett, I appreciate that you watch it. Just do me a favor, download the podcast anyway. If you're using a modern podcasting app, you can really help us out by setting it to automatically download the podcast each week. And if you don't get around to listening to it, then it'll automatically delete. That's what I do with a lot of the shows that I listen to. I'm subscribed. Let me bring up my podcast app. I'm subscribed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm going to say 40 podcasts because I got sick of counting. I subscribe to 40 podcasts. I do not listen to 40 podcasts every week, but each week, my podcast app downloads all of those podcasts. And then the next week, when it downloads the next one, it deletes the last one. And basically what I do is I just look through and I say, oh, this is one I want to listen to. So then I listen to it. And if you guys do that, even if you don't get around to listening to our show, we get credit for that download. And it really does help us skew higher in the results. F1 is bigger for you. Sam, do you mean like the racing, like Formula One? And no need to be sorry. You know, watch the stuff that you want to watch. I get this question a lot. People are always asking me, "Hey, Bill, how do you prefer that we watch your stuff? You know, do you prefer that we download?" And my preference is that you do whatever it is that makes you enjoy the show the most. So do whatever it is that you got to do. But if you're looking for ways to help us out more, then make sure that you download the show as well. Andrew Wilson, how many different podcasts do you make? I just added this one. All right, so I have Stadia Cast, Nintendo Switchcraft, and 143 Pixels. And if you want to check out those shows, click on the link right there in chat, and you can find out more about it. In fact, I'm going to click on that link. Whoa. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to try and click on the link. There we go. So this is still loading. I made the art for 143 pixels too big, so it takes forever to load. But these are my shows. 143 pixels is taking forever. It says coming November 5th. It's already here. I need to change that. But you can go here and you can check out all of my other shows. And they're all free. They're all 100% free. Thanks, Kevin Smith. Wait, that Kevin Smith? Cowtown, are you still teaching? How has COVID-19 affected your life? I teach all the time. COVID-19 has made me a better video editor because I have to make videos for my students. So I've been making videos for my students. Like the other day, I went to work and I got a bunch of minerals and I brought them home and I set up my phone on a tripod pointed down at my table here, and I did a bunch of mineral tests for my students. So like I showed them what they would have done had they been in the classroom, and then they had to identify the minerals. But that was like a 2-camera thing where I had this camera obviously, and then I had this camera, and I had to edit everything together. And so I'm getting better at that stuff. What do I teach? C's? I teach science. I figured it was a different Kevin Smith. Although a friend of mine has a show called Botched Podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, you should check it out. It's a D&D podcast, sort of, kind of D&D. And Kevin Smith did the intro for them. Like that Kevin Smith. Use Google Podcasts on your phone. I wish Google Podcasts would come to iOS, but it's not on there yet. What do I use? I use Overcast is my podcasting app. C says, imagine if one of your students watch/listen to your podcast. I got found out this year. Like one of my students found it, and but that's okay because I told my administration about it beforehand. Nebula, have you asked your students about their opinion on Stadia? I have not. When I'm at work, I'm very, very focused on work, and we really don't talk about video games. However, I put one of my Stadia stickers on my iPad, and a student saw it, and they said, "Oh, do you have Google Stadia? What do you think of it?" And I told them that it was really good, because it is. Google Podcasts is not on iOS brand. It's only on Android. Any news on when Stadia streaming will arrive? I'm excited to link up my gameplay. Cowtown, no. I'm excited for it too, because that means I'd be able to stream from any room, you know? Is that the fancy Magic Keyboard? What do you think of it? Nope, this is just the keyboard case. Not the Magic Keyboard. I want the Magic Keyboard. It's kind of expensive, so I'm gonna wait. It is available on iOS? Google Podcasts is. That must be a new thing. Oh, it is. You're right. I'm installing it right now so I can check it out. Wonder when that came out. The Magic Keyboard, you know, Apple names their stuff stupidly, but I'll show it to you. It looks really great. Let's go to the screen. So basically, it's a case. The thing that I like most about it is you can just reach over, grab the iPad, and pull it off. And they call it a Magic Keyboard because it, like, the iPad floats above the keyboard. And like it's got really good, nice keys, and it's backlit, and it's got a trackpad on it as well. I think that it looks great, and I would like it a lot, but You just ordered yourself a new RGB keyboard. This is the keyboard that I use. Is this Logitech? I don't know what it is. Hold on. G613 is the one that I use. I really like this keyboard. It has a couple of things that were very important to me. First off, it's got a number pad, which I use way more often than I thought that I would, but I use a number pad all the time. It also has like a media keys, which I really like to, skip a song if I want. And then the next cool thing is it's got a button right here, which you guys can't see it, but it's a Bluetooth button and a regular button. And so if I'm sitting here and I get a message on my phone and I want to respond to that message, I can just tap on the Bluetooth button and start typing, and it'll type on my phone, and then I can hit the other button and it types on my computer. But I'm a big fan of this keyboard. And then I would like to get, I have the Logitech G502. I can't hold it up for you because it's a wired mouse. I would like to get the same version of that, but without a wire, because I hate wires. It must have a backlight. Yeah, this does not have a backlight. I wish that this had a backlight. That would be really good if it did, but it does not. But then again, it's never that dark in here. Do you get the Stadia sticker with the Premier Edition? Anyone know? I don't know, Smashblock. I got the Founders Edition, and it came with 2 stickers, one of which is on my iPad, the other of which is on, sitting on the shelf over there unused right now. And I don't have another thing to put it on, but if I ever get the Magic Keyboard, that's what I'll do. I'll put it on there. Yeah, you never got stickers. Yeah, and I didn't even think to look, but we have the Founders Edition up here, and then my son got the Premier Edition of Stadia downstairs, mostly because we wanted an extra controller, and we didn't have a Chromecast Ultra downstairs. We had the original Chromecast, and we wanted to have a Chromecast on every TV. Brand the Builder, any StadiaCast merch soon. So right now we don't have any StadiaCast merch. I would love to do that, but I have my own merch store that you can easily, I have a Stadia shirt that I made. Let me show you. But I don't have any StadiaCast merch, and the reason that I don't have any StadiaCast merch is because right now there's no way for me to share that money with Lloyd without making another store. And what we were hoping is that YouTube would allow us to have a merch shop here on, right here on the channel, and we haven't gotten that unlocked yet. But if you're looking for a Stadia themed shirt or a cloud gaming themed shirt, here's one that I made. I drew it on my iPad. But it's like a little cloud with lightning coming out. And the lightning is in the cloud are raining down upon physical media, which I doodled this one day and I thought, okay, that looks fun. So I made it into a shirt. But you can find that shirt as well as all my other shirts over at runjumpstomp.threadless.com. And as soon as YouTube gives us a merch shop, which they do to some channels, as soon as we get that, then we'll make some official Stadia Cast merch right here on the channel. But until then, we're gonna have to wait, unfortunately. When is a That Being Said shirt coming out? That's not a bad idea. Raul, hey Bill, I know people forget to always ask, but how is your day going so far? Raul, thank you for asking. My day's going great, man. I spent all morning grading papers, and I did a Google Meet with my students, and then when I finished that, I had a really delicious lunch, some spinach and artichoke dip that my wife had made yesterday. Had that for lunch. And then I came upstairs and decided to do a stream and hang out with you guys. And while I was doing the stream, we got 4 new members, which is awesome. Omega, what are next month's June Pro games coming? We don't know. We usually find that out really close to the end of the month. I may do a That Being Said shirt. That's not a bad idea. That makes me that's funny. Ro, what do I teach? I teach science. I'm a science teacher. Just so everybody knows, we've got about 5 minutes left in the stream, and I'm gonna cut it off and go play Animal Crossing, I think. Let me look real quick. I just wanted to see the straw poll. So it says here, about 75% said that they want more open mic. It's good to know. That is good to know. Well, all of the shirts, all of the things that I have on my merch shop at, go to runjumpstomp.com/thankyou. Here, I'll give you the link. All of the shirts here, they can all be ordered as hoodies as well, or like there's stickers and stuff like that too. See you later, Brand. Thanks for stopping by, man. Raul likes more gameplay. Well, maybe. Smash Block Games, thank you very much for becoming a supporter. I appreciate it. Make sure that you connect your YouTube account to your Discord account so you can get access to the supporters only channel. C's, just so you know, I'm curious what your preferences are, but I'll always make my own decision. All right? Just so you're aware. Can I make a car window decal? I don't think that that's an option, Raul. I don't think you can. Like, I don't think that that's something that can happen on Threadless, which is the merch shop that I use. They have stickers, but they don't have a car window decal, I don't believe. But I will say this, I'm very happy that people really like the open mics, because I have a lot of fun doing the open mics, because I get to really interact with chat a lot more, which is my favorite part of streaming, is interacting with chat. So I really like those. And when I play games, I get too distracted by the game, and plus I'm just bad at games. The one thing is when I don't like if I play games, that means I get to finish more games. Justin, if you Google connect Discord and YouTube accounts, copy, paste, there you go. Ian, thank you very much for becoming a supporter. Thank you. Make sure that you connect your Discord and YouTube accounts so you get access to that channel. A lot of times if I'm looking for people to play with, I will ask in... I'm going to start doing this more often, but if I'm looking for people to play with, I'm going to ask in the supporters channel first. Look at that. We've got the second new member train right here. If you guys are wondering what I mean by that, if you look right here, you see this little bar. This shows up whenever somebody becomes a member, and it counts down. And if somebody becomes another person becomes a member before it hits the end, then this little number 2 goes up to 3. But if it disappears, then that number just starts back at 0. But what I think I need to do is I need to extend that timer out so that it's for longer. Sees, there's a weird glitch on Borderlands 3 and Mayhem 10, and it crashes on Stadia. That's weird. I have you reached out to the publisher, to the developer, and like reported that bug? Yeah, I would report that bug and see if they have a solution for you. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. We've got memberships in the chat counting down. I'm gonna stay streaming until those are gone. All right, so thank you for everybody. And if another one comes in, I'll stay until that one goes away. They're really good about optimizations. I don't know about that. I don't think that the Borderlands games are famous for having great optimization. You know what I mean? Like their optimization usually not so great. That's what I understand though. I have to say that Division 2 is probably the best port right now on well, I don't know that I can say the best port. It's like when I played the Division 2 with mouse and keyboard, it blew me away. It felt like I was playing a native game, and that's only happened with controller for me so far. But then again, I haven't really tried mouse and keyboard very much. Raul, we already played together, man. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is great too. I have that. I'm gonna play it. Right now, I'm too focused on Octopath and Division 2 and Doom 64. Brett, thank you very much for stopping by and being a member and being awesome. I appreciate it, man. Oh my goodness! Now I gotta stay for longer. Thank you very much. The next up for the $10 super chat. I appreciate it. You're enjoying the podcast? Well, I'm happy that you are enjoying it. That is the reason that we do this, is because people enjoy it. I mean, although honestly, Lloyd and I would probably continue to do the podcast even if nobody listened, because we like talking to each other about this stuff. It just makes it that much better. that you guys also like it. So now you can see what I've got going on here. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog starts running from left to right across the screen, and if he gets to the ring before somebody does another super chat, then it disappears. But if somebody else does a super chat before he gets to the ring, this is really cool little interactivity that Alpha Gaming made. But if he gets to the ring, actually no, it's the Firewire made it, but that's how I found it was from Alpha Gaming. If somebody else does a super chat before he gets to the ring, then it gets added to that total right there. Have I played any more Doom 64 since my video? I have, Justin. It's really good, except it's super, super, super fast, and it's making it really hard for me to play. And the thing that I would compare it to, like I went back and I played the original Doom on my Nintendo Switch, and that doesn't feel as fast as Doom 64. But what it reminds me of is going back and trying to play an old 90s style first-person shooter like Half-Life. Like I played Half-Life recently, just a little bit, on my PC, and the character feels super slidey. It feels just like it does in Doom 64. And that makes it really hard for me to control. And I don't think it's a Stadia thing. I think it's a Doom 64 thing. I think it's a Half-Life thing. I'm not used to games that the controller, the character moves that fast anymore. You know what I mean? And so I'm struggling. I'm currently on chapter 4 of Doom 64, and I'm getting my tail kicked. My son says the little guy is running to the donut. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Cheers. Cheers, little Wilson. Division 2 is also an instance game, so a lot less resources go into it. You don't have a bunch of NPCs walking around. I mean, there's a lot of NPCs that I remember running into. It just feels so smooth. Like Division 2 feels incredibly smooth. It is a wonderful port on Stadia. I wouldn't say that it feels like PC Doom, because PC Doom doesn't feel as fast as Doom 64. But then again, I never played Doom 64. Bernard Baker sent in a super chat. They said, my goodness, I just came from the Ghost of Tsushima stream and the toxicity is horrible. I really appreciate your chill vibes, Bill. Well, thank you very much, Bernard. And of course, he has now extended the stream for longer until that little timer on the top runs out. But thank you very much, Bernard, for the kind words. You're right. You're going to see. Listen, if this community were huge, like if there were as many people watching this as watched the Ghost of Tsushima stream, then people would probably be very toxic in here. The thing that I'm very proud of with this community is that we have fantastic mods, and I don't care how many viewers I have. If somebody comes in and they're a jerk, I'm going to kick them out because I think they're a jerk, and I don't want jerks in my community. And that's how you end up with a good community. So a lot of streamers will tolerate less than optimal behavior from people because they're like, well, if I kick them out, then I'll have fewer viewers. And the way that I say it, or the way that I see it, is that if I allow, we'll say jerks to be part of the community, then they'll ruin the community for others. And at the end of the day, I'm more about the community than I am about the YouTube channel. So I would prefer to have a smaller community that's awesome than a large community that's a bunch of you know, whatever, insert expletive there. Andrew says, I love that I can watch this with my 3-year-old and not worry about anything. Props to you guys for keeping it fun and clean. And that's, you know, that's one of the reasons, because we try and have a community that is clean. That's one of the reasons why whenever I put a thumbnail or like a game that's not safe for families, then that's why I try and put the rated M thing on the thumbnail. So I am going to play games that are rated M, and I am going to stream games that are rated M, and I am going to record myself playing games that are rated M, and I am going to put those on the channel. But I'm going to make sure that I tag it with that rated M thing, so the parents who get used to watching our content with their kids in the room, they'll know, oh, this is not a game that's okay with my kids. Sonic needs to be replaced with Sally from Guilt riding her bike across the screen. That would be awesome, Brett. But I prefer to use Sonic because he's more generic, just generic gaming. All right, everybody. The timers on the top of chat have run out. I want to take a moment and thank all of the people who became members or used super chats today. So that would be Brian, Brandon, Stadiology, Smashblock, Ian, or Ian, depending on how you pronounce it, The Next Up, and Bernard. You guys are all awesome, and I really appreciate the support. And Cohen just became a member, a supporter. So I'm going to hang out for just a little bit longer because we got a new member, but I do have to use the bathroom. So I'm going to take 2 minutes and go use the bathroom and stretch my legs, and I'll be back, and hopefully the member thing will still be up there. Be right back, everybody. Oh my God, my eyeballs were floating. Like, this was, like, I've had a lot of water. I've had a lot of water. All right, I'm back. I just like that this is lo-fi beats and relaxed to study too. Love that I can play Stadia during my lunch at work. Oh, they don't block it for you there, Raul? So I'm going to stay until the member thing it disappears from the top of the screen. But you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It's always fun to talk about video games. This music is great. It's super chill. Yeah, I love this music. This is Stream Beats. If you're looking for this music, here, I can actually share you the playlist. Share. Copy. There you go. Because I'm listening to it on YouTube Music. Oh, that's awesome, Bernard. Hey guys, the stream wouldn't be as awesome without you guys, so thank you for the stream. Jem, yes, the Monopoly stream is me and Lloyd playing against each other, and with you guys, like if people want to, they can make Lloyd and I sell like mortgage properties or auction things. We'll have all the rules out there with super chats. Top 5 Stadia games. All right, Doom Eternal. Guilt. I have to look at the list. I have to remind myself of some, like, what games. All right, so Doom Eternal, Guilt. These are just the games that I've played. Borderlands 3, Division 2, Octopath. Those are my favorite Stadia games so far. Just got back from work. Love to listen to the stream. Very relaxing. Well, Cohen, it's just about. In fact, it's over now because the little timer ticked off. I want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with me, and Lloyd and I will see you guys on Sunday. He might be doing a stream later today, or it might be tomorrow. I don't remember. I'm not sure if he's streaming again this week, but we'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye, everybody.